spiritual deep dive today, and Hugh and Eck are in the room with me. They refuse to leave. They've become much more cuddly and they want to hang out during this spiritual deep dive. So they might land on my head, might land on my shoulder, but either way, they're here to say hello and give us some nice background music, really, because their sound is incredible. So, welcome back. And I'm going to start out with a spiritual exercise of Eck by Harold Klemp, because you guys can refer to this very easily if you want to, click on it again. In these spiritual deep dives, I will do the spiritual exercise first, so you can always refer back to it if you want to remember it. We're on the 21st, and it's called Seminar Dreams. That's pretty cool, okay? I don't know how many of you have been to an Eckankar seminar. There are some in very many different places, okay? But I'm referring to the one in Chanhassen and St. Paul, Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's every October, and it's an incredible event where people from all across the whole world, I mean, a lot of places come together, and it's just a spiritual gathering, learning time, meeting people. It's just a wonderful event that I enjoy every year for like about 4 days. So this says seminar dreams. I wonder if it's about the seminar, and how many of you have had dreams if you've been to an Eckankar seminar where you're actually at the seminar again, or a different seminar somewhere else, right? So let's see what this one has to say. It's number 21 in the book, page 51. Sometimes you will find yourself working on the inner planes in settings very much as we find at an Eckankar seminar. Maybe you are acting as an usher, working in the higher worlds. You are carrying out some act of service to the Ek out of love. You act out of love for that sound and light of God which has filled you. So when you have so much love that you are cultivating, let's say you're really diligently working on being the love, okay? You have a lot of love, then it kind of has to come out. If you keep it in, you feel like you're going to burst, okay? So where are you letting that love out? So to attend an Eckankar seminar inwardly, do this. Before sleep, go into contemplation and visualize whatever you can about the seminar, using the description you've read in the pre-registration brochure. Put yourself on the inner planes and say, I am seeing myself with friends at the X seminar. I'm seeing myself in the audience listening to the master. You can also even say, I'm seeing myself talking to the master. Okay? If you wish to consciously serve in this way, give yourself a silent command before sleep. Then let the matter rest in the hands of divine spirit. So, again, this is all about using your imagination to get to where you want to be. Hello, Freddie. Welcome. So that was another helpful dream spiritual exercise of Eck, Harold Klemp. Okay, so let's move on to one of my favorite books on the planet, other than the Shariat Ki Sugmad, which is something to definitely read. And every time you read it, by the way, it's going to be different. So this is the Spiritual Laws of Life. Again, Harold Klemp. So we are on the laws of charity, and there are a few. The laws that bring soul a greater capacity to love. Charity. What is the definition? It is the goodwill we give to all souls. Did you hear that it said goodwill? It doesn't say money necessarily. Goodwill. Man does not have the capacity to give warm, personal love to all. So it is given to dear ones, friends and family. People in your inner circle get the warmest love that you have to offer. But charity, detached love, can be given freely to everyone. Okay, again, the word charity, so many think it means money, but it's goodwill and warmth. And again, the distinction that he's already made is that we can give good, warm love to people in our inner circle, and the people that are a little more detached from us, we give more of a detached love to, okay? Because that's a lot to give, So we have to pace ourselves. Chila, laws and rules for the Chila. Chila is another word for student, and we're all students here. The laws and rules for the Ek Chila are simple. These are to give harmony, purity, and perfection of soul. Now, you do not have to follow these, but if you don't, then it's going to be a little rougher. So, again, they are to give harmony, purity, and perfection of soul. This constitutes heaven while in the physical vehicle. Wow. So you can actually bring heaven to earth by being these things, having harmony, purity, and perfection of soul. How? Well, let's find out. Okay. He must practice the disciplines of Ek. The first is to have cleanliness of mind, that no words which would pollute the air enter his mind. You don't want to say things that are harmful to anyone or negative, that are polluting. He shall look upon all men as creatures of God, and this only. For they, like himself, are temples who shall eventually become co workers with God. Okay, not always an easy feat because some people act really yucky, okay? And it's like, well, how are you supposed to see them as temples of God? Like, okay, I can see that one as a temple of God. Hi, Mary and Jerry. I love you. You guys are total temples of God. Okay, but others, all right? How do you see others who are mean as temples of God? Well, pretend they're just in kindergarten and not in 12th grade yet, or not in their master's program. They're kindergartners behaving poorly. Oh, love you too. Oh, you're back. Hello. So yeah, so we have to consider that everyone's at a different grade level. And that doesn't mean they have to be in our inner circle. Just like I was reading before, they can be on the outer circle. But remember that we have to have cleanliness of mind about them. We don't want to think negative stuff, if at all possible. Not an easy feat. He must in mind fast continuously from all lower thoughts or Cal thoughts, which could infect his mental state and consciousness. So, a mental fast of negativity and bad thoughts about other people. That is something that is useful to do. Through this, he learns the powerful awareness of the presence of the living Ek Master, who is with him constantly, your inner guide. He learns not to be deceived or dismayed by the conflicting world around him. Again, not an easy feat. He knows that all universes, regardless of whether or not they are under the rulership of the Kalnaranjan, are really worlds of perfection, harmony, and good. Even the lower worlds that are run by the Kalnaranjan, the king of the lower worlds, like some would call the devil or evil, is really, it's a job that king of the lower worlds has to teach us lessons so that we can pass each dimension and get to the higher ones. We have to pass so many tests. It's so easy to fall back into anger, lust, greed, vanity, and attachment. And it's not that we don't at times, right? So we're constantly tested here in these physical bodies on this planet right now. He learns that patience is the greatest discipline of all the spiritual works of Ek. Oh, patience, yes. By patience, he can endure life, hardships, karmic burdens, the slanders of men, and the pricks of pain and disease. He keeps his mind steadfastly upon the light of God, never swerving, never letting up on his attention to the goal of God realization. Never swerving, staying on the path. Even when things are like on the side, you're going, oh, maybe we should go that way. No, get back on track. He comes to know humility and chastity in his life on earth, and that all his responsibility belongs to God, not to anyone nor anything within this physical realm. His loved ones, family, and relatives are the images of God, mirrored in this worldly life and embodiment to serve the Sugmad, the supreme deity, God, source, love, all that is. Thank you. Beautiful day to you too. Hello. All right. So he will come to discriminate between all things, recognizing that there is no good nor no evil, no beauty, nor ugliness, and there is no sin. What does this mean? That all these are concepts of the mind, the dual forces in the matter worlds. Once he recognizes and understands this, he will then be free of all the Cal traps. That doesn't mean to go and do things that are bad, okay? He will be ready to enter into the kingdom of God, the ocean of love and mercy. He will be the Ek of itself. Be the hue, be the Ek, be the love. Are you being the love? It's a good question to ask yourself all day long. I like to ask myself, am I being the love right now? You know, when things come up or people act a certain way or whatever, how can I stay in that love vibe? It doesn't mean accept abuse ever. Oh, and the birds agree. They're flying freely behind me if you guys can see them. They're so cute. I know that they're eventually probably going to land on my head or on my shoulder. Hello, I love you. The path of Ek doesn't eliminate the 5 passions of the mind. We learn how to control them. How? How do we learn to control the 5 passions of the mind? Those being, again, anger, lust, vanity, greed, attachment. How do we control the 5 passions of the mind? By focused attention. The power of soul, which is ignited by the chanting of your word. You guys, if you become an Ekist, you get a personal secret word that no one's allowed to know. Excuse me a moment. And you can chant it. But in the meantime, if you're not an Ekist, you can chant the word hue, which basically just means love. It's a very high vibrational word, and it will help you to stay in that, powerfully loving place. By chanting your word, you instantly have the power to raise yourself in consciousness to the point where you are able to step back from any situation. This is so true, so that it doesn't overwhelm you. So if I'm in a situation that's difficult, let's say I'm with a loved one who's got a lot of difficulties going on and they're really stressed out and maybe a little barky, right? Some people can do that when they're stressed out. You can go into your secret private word or chant the hue inwardly, and it really detaches you from their problems. Like, you can become a vessel of love and listen. And it's so funny because when someone feels listened to, they tend to not bark as much. I think people mostly just want to be seen and heard and understood. Then you can look at it objectively and unemotionally and figure out what's happening. Objectively and unemotionally, and figure out what's happening. When you chant the word hue, it's so much easier to just hear someone, okay, and to understand people better. Ask yourself, is it in my best interest? So if it's about you, you can chant the word hue several times. And then, is this in my best interest? What I'm about to do, what I'm currently doing, is this the best for me? And if it's not, then you can start to adjust and make changes in your life. Hello, you don't want to sit on the lamp, darling. It's going to get hot. The bird just landed on the lamp. Okay, up you go. Yes, hello. Or is someone using his creative imagination to trap me within the dimensions of his time and space? You can start to differentiate and discern whether people are trying to use you and trap you into their level of consciousness, and remain in yours. Stay in your vibe, stay in your bubble of love. This is so important. This is a big one. Stay in your bubble of love no matter what's going on. Maybe you have a job and your boss is abusive on some level, or your coworkers are. Just stay in your bubble. Stay in your bubble of love. Oh, this is a great picture. Look at the bird on the cat. They're not very discerning. Okay, it is a robotic toy cat, but nonetheless. Okay. To live in this truth, to abide in the word, is to bear the harvest of all things in the richest manner. Again, to live in this truth, to abide in the word, the hue, or your own personal word, or you could just sing love if you don't you think it's weird or something. Because again, until you try it, you don't know how it works, right? So you pick your word, it will bear the harvest of all things in the richest manner. That is to live harmoniously in the spiritual sense. Okay, so you will be living very harmoniously when you do that. Now we're on to the law of creativity. The law of creativity, and that's what we are, creative beings. So the more that you can use your creative imagination, the more that you can have a better everything really in your life. Now, you can also use your creative imagination in a negative way, which you don't want to do. You want to use your creative imagination for good. Okay, so many people get nervous and think negative things, and then they create them by default. So if, let's say, you're in a relationship and you think bad things about the other person, you're going to eventually ruin that relationship. Okay, or whatever you're thinking. Or if you think you don't have enough money, you're going to always not have enough money. You need to start listening to videos on YouTube of people who have money and figure out how to do what they did. Because if they could do it, so could you, right? So we're going to read the law of creativity. Harmony does sound good. Hello, Michael. Yes, harmony sounds amazing. All right, so here we go. Every atom is striving continually to manifest more life. All are intelligent and all are seeking to carry out the purpose for which they were created. My bird just landed on my water cup. Oh, geez. You guys, life is a mystery until we come to the path of Ek. We begin to understand that we can be the creators of our own world and that, in truth, what we are today is a creation of that which we have made from the past. Now that is humbling, yes? Okay, we are what we created from our past self. Oops, or yay, which one is it for you? There is a way to change the future and we can do it, but you don't do it by wishing. It's just not going to happen by wishing. There's effort and action that needs to occur. When an individual looks for God realization, it has to be more than a passing fancy. I pause there. It has to be more than a passing fancy. It can't be like, well, I'll try this for a while. It's like how people do one diet and they'll be like, oh, I did this diet. Okay, maybe I lost 5 pounds. Now I'm going to try a different one. No, it has to be like a very serious, like that's it. Like you're looking for God, for love, and it's the most important thing. And then, it will pay the dividends back because you will be focused on that. And that is all that you can really bring with you when you leave your physical clay vessel. You're not going to take the money or the body that you cultivated, though it's great to take care of your body. It's a temple for your soul. So it's not like a fashion that you only wear for a season. You don't just forget your high aspirations for God. It must be something that is within your heart in a gentle way. You know that no matter what happens on the path, it is always to lead you closer to the source of soul's creation in the heart of God. Soul wants to return home. The creative imagination is vital in that it gives people a way to help bring the greatest spiritual blessings into their lives. So, what begins as imagination ends as a doorway to heaven. Okay, so creative imagination can open doorways and gates to different dimensions, actually, too. You just have to visualize it. You develop a sense of humor, and as challenges come up, you begin to draw on your creativity. You find solutions that would never have occurred to you before. Life becomes more fun. It does, it's so true. You actually have a more adventuresome life. When you open yourself up to creative imagination, you do get more adventurous, actually, in the inner and in the dream state. And then it is a byproduct is that it trickles out into the physical realm. And you start to get creative ideas that you're like, wait a second, I don't have a fear about that. I'm going to do that. Why not? Okay. So you get put into situations you would not have been in before because you are going one step beyond yourself. And as you get yourself in trouble, you also have help to get out of it, because as you learn to work with your own resources, You are developing self mastery. You are developing self mastery. Why would you want to depend on any other being? Yes, there's the Mahanta, your inner guide, but I mean, why not develop self mastery? Aren't we all working to become angels slash Eckmasters slash co-workers with God, source, love, all that is? Isn't that the point? Now I see a bunch of things I want to read. All right. Oh, thank you. It's a lovely work, you guys. I remind you that this is Sri Harold Klemp, The Spiritual Laws of Life, if you want to buy it. Again, this is a book that helps you for eternity, not just this lifetime. So, yay. Thank you, Harold Klemp. All right. One must come to realize that all creation is finished in the lower universes. All of it is finished in the lower universes. All of it. One now moment. Creativeness is only a deeper receptiveness. So everything that could ever be has already occurred. You just have to receive that vibration and vibe into it. The entire contents of all time and all space, while experienced in a time sequence, actually coexist in an infinite and eternal now. That is all there is, you guys, the current, like now. So the past is a remembrance. The thinks and thoughts about the future is like a fantasy. All there really is right now. This is what is meant by the statement that creation is finished. Nothing is ever created, only manifested. What are you manifesting? What is called creativeness is only becoming aware of what already is. What is called creativeness is only simply becoming aware of what already is. Oh, wow. So, what channel have you turned to? Have you turned to the Piss Pot Poor channel? I love you, British people. I just saw a great video where they use different British words over and over. So, there you go. But which channel are you turning to? Or are you turning to the I'm an Eckmaster in training channel? I'm being a loving being. Which channel? Or are you focused in on the I have to have a rockin' hot body channel or clothing that I don't know. I don't even know the names of clothes. Honest to God, if someone was wearing a $10,000 watch, I would not even know. Okay. What channel are you focused on? And it's okay if you're focused on the I have a nice watch channel. Okay. Doesn't matter. But you can't take the watch with you, and that's ego. So, the better thing to be focused on if you are interested in cultivating your spiritual self is your spiritual self. That's pretty funny. Okay. Okay. You simply become increasingly aware of portions of that which already exists. This is wild. Think about it. What timeline are you vibing into? Because you can basically have a million timelines, a billion, an infinite amount of timelines in front of you. You could, pick up the phone and call your first grade friend if you wanted to. You could do anything in this now moment. Infinite amount of timelines. Which channel are you going to tune into? A lot of us stay in the comfort channel, even though it's not the best one for us because, we're afraid to make that phone call, or we're afraid to go on that trip, or we're afraid to take that new job, or we're afraid, blah, 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 insert your fear. Okay. But that's one channel and you don't have to stay on it. Just because it's what you know doesn't mean there's not better out there. Always change the channel. It really makes life more interesting. You have more ability to learn and grow and expand your consciousness, which is, I think, why we're here in part. Shakespeare. Ooh, I love Shakespeare. Shakespeare says a poet's function is to reach to heaven for ideas and bring them down to earth. Okay. It is true that thought does not originate with man, but in heaven. Huh. Where did Beethoven go to find his Fifth Symphony? Did Jesus originate the Sermon on the Mount? When great poetry and great music inspire you, what is conceived, gestated, and born of that. You can choose between noble and ignoble. You understand poetry and music, love them and let them flow into your consciousness. It's true, you guys. The song I wrote, You Are the Ocean, I wrote that with an Eckmaster, with an Eckmaster, okay? Who basically just talked to me and we came up with the words together. It was like a download of information. It was wild how that occurred. So check out my song, You Are the Ocean. It's on my channel under Songs Sung by Michelle or something like that playlist. But it's how it happens is that you get information that comes to you from somewhere, now here. Nowhere, now here. Same word, said differently. No, where, now, here. There's so many like signs and clues in the languages that we speak. I love it. Okay. Such a puzzle. Okay. Love them and let them flow into your consciousness. So you see that we are all linked to the sun, moon, and stars. We can lift our consciousness to higher planes and see from above as if from the masthead of a ship, the past, the present, and future, all in a moment through the eyes of soul. How many of you guys have gone to sleep and all of a sudden you're in a dream state and you're looking through eyes and you're wearing different clothing and you're in a different time and place and you're holding someone's hand and you're speaking Italian. Okay, so maybe you didn't have the exact same experience as me, but my point is, how many of you have had an experience where you're in the dream worlds or have a soul travel experience to a different time and you know that that's you, it just you have a different body. It's so cool, okay? I just love this. All right, so you're seeing through the eyes of soul. And maybe that's why you came back playing the piano like Beethoven, because you were Beethoven. We are our own ancestors. I will repeat that. We are our own ancestors. Weird, right? Awesome. God's special gift to the higher forms of spiritual evolution is the gift of dun 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 dun. What is it, peoples? What's the gift? Creativity. Creativity. It is a reflection of soul's highest nature to be creative. Thought creates form, but it is feeling that gives vitality to thought. We need both once we're creating. Thought without feeling may be constructive, as in some engineering work. Yes, but it can never be creative in the work of an artist or a musician. No. Yeah, you have to feel. When you sing a song, you gotta feel it, or it's just kind of like dead words and sound. In all that which originates within itself, a new order of causation needs to be recognized, a creation, the intertwined reality of thought and feeling, creativity, thought and feeling. It is this inseparable union of thought and feeling that distinguishes creative thought from analytical thought and places it in a different category. If one is to utilize a new starting point for carrying on the work of creation, it must be done by assimilating the feelings of the divine act into the pattern of one's thoughts. The feeling of the divine act, not the feelings of the feeling of the divine act. You feel it and put it into your thought by entering to a stream of the act. Okay. Whew, that's so simple, but also complex, right? It's so interesting. The images in the mind from the stream of spirit have to be generic. The reason is that by its very nature, the principle of life must be prolific, tending to multiplicity, and the original thought image must be fundamental to the whole race, not limited to particular individuals. Universal, it must be. Consequently, the image in the stream of the Ek must be an absolute type containing the true essentials for the perfect development of the race, just what Plato meant by archetypal ideas. This is the perfect substance of the thing in thought. That is very heady, so rewind if you want, but yeah, I'll continue. We're almost done with creativity. Therefore, la la la, okay. It is that our unfolding as centers of creative activity, as exponents of new laws, and through them of new conditions, depends on our realization that divine power is the archetype of consciousness perfection at once as thought and feeling. Whew. Both go together. Soul, a particle of God, is blessed with the gift of creative imagination, which finds a solution for every problem. And that is so true. You guys, a solution for every problem. Now, that doesn't sound bad. So, how do we vibe into the solution for every problem? We think and we feel and we receive. You have to be receptive. So, I feel like that's like been kind of drummed in today. Thought and feeling, receptivity all at once, and aspiring to the higher things. I recently listened to a podcast, or I don't know what you call it now, streaming, whatever, of Warren Buffett. He had this quick story about how his personal pilot, he was talking to him one day, and he asked him, what's wrong, whatever. He just wasn't going with the flow of his life very well. And he said, well, make me a list of 25 things that, you're excited to create or accomplish in your life. Now, Warren Buffett, if you don't know, I think he's like a multi-billionaire, and he still lives in his like very humble home, drives decent, not expensive car, but I'm assuming he's still alive, but last I knew he was. Um, anyway, he basically had the guy write 25 things down, and then he said, okay, now circle the 5 top. What? Well, the pilot didn't want to cross anything off, but the point that Warren Buffett was making is you have to focus on what's most important. So is God realization, God knowing, becoming a coworker with God, or an Eckmaster angel, someone of service, getting rid of the anger, lust, greed, vanity, attachment, cultivating the higher virtues. Is this on your top 5 list? Because if it's not, once you make your list of 25 things, if it's not even on your list, okay, that's fine. You have many lifetimes, eternal, right? But if it's in 25 and then you have to pick 5 and you pick things like, financial goals or what have you, then you're missing the boat. Because again, if we live to even be 150, let's say somehow people start to live to be 150. Okay, 150 years out of bazillion, gazillion, trillion. I don't know if that's a word, but you know what I'm saying. It's a blip it's like a second in eternity. So what should you focus on? That's all I'm saying about that. Okay. Hugh and Eck are very, very active in this room right now. So I am now going to move on to another fun thing, which is the Eckapedia. So I invite you guys to put a page number down, and I will read one of the definitions from the Eckapedia. Harold Klemp again. Okay, ancient wisdom. It says ancient wisdom, ageless wonder. What would you like to know? It says explore and discover. There's so many different things to learn in here, but while I'm looking for a number, I'm going to read. Okay, I am doing well. Thank you, final boss. What is life after death? Ooh, that's fun. There is no such thing as death. Are you still here? I'm sorry, I didn't see this before. I was reading final boss. There is no death. The death of the physical clay vessel is literally just clay. You leave. I've literally experienced leaving while awake. It is so fabulous where you can go that this is like pales in comparison. This is a school. You're in Earth school right now. Welcome to Hogwarts. This is a school where we learn to become better and to get rid of karma too, and learn some hard lessons sometimes, okay? Not easy. But when our bodies do expire, we translate as if translating to a different language. So from French to English or whatever, you become alive, awake in the other realms. So again, there's the physical, then there's the astral, causal, mental, etheric, and then the 5th love dimension and above. So you basically just go to a different dimension, and it's not as dense and it's not as difficult, though you will still get lessons. And then sometimes you have to come back because maybe there's some lessons that you can only learn in the physical plane. And that doesn't just mean Earth, by the way. There are other places that you can incarnate that are different planetary systems, different dimensions, supraphysical places where you can go as well. So, no fear, no fear. Okay, false evidence appearing real, no fear. All right, hope that answered that. And anyone have a page number? Dun, da, da, da. Anybody? Anybody? What else did someone say? Let's see. We've got Michael says, I lived in a community that was pretty close to perfect harmony, so I know what it's like. If it can be better, then it's just +1. That's awesome. Sounds interesting. Okay. And yes, I'm doing very well. Happy to be learning with you guys. I love these books. It's like so much. Okay. So I just opened to Moon Worlds. That sounds interesting. Along with the lightning worlds and sun worlds, these are subplanes which lie between the physical plane and the true astral plane. There are other places of existence that we're unaware of. Some of us are aware because you can travel there in your etheric or spirit body, your soul body, soul travel. Okay, music of the spheres. We were talking about music earlier, and so let's read music of the spheres. Mentioned by the Eck master Pythagoras, people, okay? He was an Eck master, and other philosophers. The music of the spheres is the spirit of the unwritten truth, the hue, the sound current, the Eck itself. Other words for it are bani, nad, qualima, heavenly music, and the word. It is the sound we listen for in contemplation. At first, it is weak, often imperceptible, but variable. However, by continual training, a transformation takes place, and the music of the spheres is heard quite distinctly. Its divine and delectable sound is of a sweetness and serenity unsurpassed by any. The music draws soul upward by its strong power, like a powerful magnet. It purifies all which soul picked up as dross during its sojourn on earth. As the awakened consciousness makes soul partake of the joys of heaven, it becomes a greater channel for the Mahanta to use for spreading the message of Eckankar. Thus, soul, severed from Maya and its illusions, its seeds of desires, its hopes and fears, is liberated and established in the great reality of Ek. Ooh. Okay, I don't see any numbers up here yet, but I found mystery schools. Have you guys heard of mystery schools? Very interesting to me. Okay, so I'm going to read it. Hope you like it too. Historically, groups of initiates gathered under the guiding hand of a master or teacher of the spiritual truths, not to be worshipped, to learn from, who revealed the mysteries of nature and the universe. Some of the earliest known mystery schools were in ancient Egypt. Yay, Egypt, where Gopal Das founded the mystery schools of Osiris and Isis. Pythagoras was instructed in the Egyptian rites and later led a mystery school in ancient Greece, adapted for the consciousness of that people. Yabal Sakabi, I love you. Yabal Sakabi also helped set up the mystery schools in ancient Greece. Great prophets such as Rama, Krishna, Hermes, Moses, Orpheus, Plato, and Jesus were known to have been students in the various mystery schools. Eckankar is a modern-day mystery school. I repeat, Eckankar is a modern-day mystery school. All religions and philosophies are the offspring of Ek, the fountainhead of all life. There are 974 Ek masters to date. Okay, not to date, but you know, you know what I mean? To date, they've been around that long. Okay, so you might have known them and they have been here and they are the ones who are the best guides when they are appointed. So you might still vibe with one. Like when I said Yabal Sakabi, I worked with Yabal Sakabi a very long time ago. And so I remember him and I love Yabal Sakabi. But right now, he's no longer the current living Ek Master. It's Sri Doug Kunin. So he is the one who has the power to be of most use and help to people who are looking to return to the Godhead and to become co-workers or Ek masters. So he's the one to work with in this now time. There's always a different one. Again, Sri Doug Kunin, and Sri is a word of respect given to the Eck Masters, specifically mostly to the current living Eck Master. And so, yeah, so you can get the help from these masters if you ask. They will never come to you without permission. It is a violation of spiritual law. So you can ask Sri Doug Kunin. You can look him up too and ask him. He will hear you. He's an inner guide. And honestly, I know this stuff can sometimes sound to people like it's not even possible, but once you experience it, you're like, wow, okay, yeah, this totally is, wow. This is really real, you guys. Miracles didn't just happen 2,000 years ago. Come on. Miracles and things happen now. Are you able to open your third eye to see them is the question. And by the way, maybe avoid too much, what's it called? Fluoride. But I'm no medical person. I'm just saying that it does calcify the pineal gland, which is the third eye between your temples. Okay. So I am going to read one more, unless I get a number from someone, any number, and I will open to that page. I'll read Soul Travel next. And here it is. And then I will bid you a farewell for the day. So, Soul Travel. And also, you guys, thanks for being here. Like and subscribe if you would like to support this channel. Soul Travel. Soul Travel is getting in touch with your higher nature, which is soul. As soul, you have the ability to transcend the physical body and travel into the spiritual worlds of God. You do this every time you go to sleep. You do this in every moment where you raise your conscious awareness too. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I left my body and it was all wispy and white and I saw a fairy. It can just be, oh, I just raised my consciousness. I didn't behave in the same way I would have behaved in that situation a year ago. You see? That's soul travel too. This is essentially the expansion of consciousness. It can take place in the dream state or via the spiritual exercises of Eck, or even in the natural course of your daily life. Soul travel, which is taught only by the living Eck Master, makes you aware of God's plans. Via soul travel, you can prove to yourself the existence of God in life after death, and you can discover the purpose of your life. The experience of soul travel, it's both art and science. Interesting, we were talking about that earlier, right? The thought and feeling. In its purest form, soul travel is simply soul leaving behind its awareness of the human consciousness and moving into a higher one closer to God. Sometimes it's a subtle shifting of consciousness from everyday problems to a commanding overview of how those same problems fit into the divine plan of soul's evolution to a higher state of purity. Soul travel ranges far and wide. Some people experience soul travel as a shift of consciousness. All of a sudden, something happens in their lives where they become aware that they understand something they haven't before. It comes in like a soft golden kiss of God. Then they just know. Soul travel can also be a dramatic experience where people are lifted out of the body and have conscious experience in the other worlds. It depends on what you as soul are ready for and what's necessary for your spiritual unfoldment. So what are you ready for and what's necessary? Yeah, it was really cool when I left my body. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I wanted to walk through walls. I was gung ho. But is it necessary? Well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it'll happen again. Either way, it gives you an experience to know that your body is not who you are for sure. Like I always knew that intellectually, but now I'm like, okay, now I know what it feels like. It's so awesome. Very freeing. Oh, my birds are saying hello again. Hi, guys. The purpose of soul travel. Soul travel deals with the expansion of spiritual awareness. People have to at some time become aware of who and what they are. You have to become aware of who and what you are. Okay. This knowledge can come through dreams or revelations of past lives and possibilities for the future. Okay. Soul travel transcends the limits of astral or mind travel and rote prayer, elevating one into profound spiritual realms. Whenever soul reaches the far orbits of the inner planes through soul travel, the human heart opens to God's all-consuming love. This is what life is all about. it opens you even more. And I will finish actually with one bonus one, okay? Sound current, because it's right after soul travel, and the sound current is so important to understand. The audible life stream, the Ek, Holy Spirit, the Word of God, the Spirit of the unwritten truth. So the sound current. The sound current is that divine essence, the voice of the Sugmad, also known as God, love, which sustains all life and can be seen and heard outwardly and inwardly by the faculties of soul. It is the sound of spiritual atoms moving in space. The audible life stream is the divine being expressing itself like a wave flowing out from the heart of God. It is the creative current, the purifying element, which carries soul home to God. Listening for the sound current is the key element of the spiritual exercises of Ek. And if you've ever heard a sound that's not there in the physical, but is there and you can hear it because you're vibing into it, then I guess it says that lifts you closer to the heart of God. It's a wonderful, purifying experience. All right, so I think that's it for today. Spiritual deep dive. Again, I appreciate you guys hanging with me. And if there's no questions that I can try to humbly answer, okay, again, I'm learning with you. But if there's a question, I'm happy to answer it. If not, then I will simply say, see you later. And again, thank you for being a part of Hugh Loving Life. Hugh and X say thank you too. There's one of the birds landed on the play robot cat. Okay. That's interesting. Not very discerning. All righty then. You all have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next video.